Welcome to another episode of Purchase to Profits. I'm Seth Ferguson. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss our daily interviews with successful real estate investors. And I've put together the top 7 key market drivers I look at when analyzing a real estate market. Go to sethferguson.org to download your free copy. Our guest today started her real estate investing career in 2005 while still in college at the age of 20. She holds a current portfolio of multifamily, commercial, and single-family properties. Pongee Barnes joins us today. Pongee, welcome to Purchase to Profits. It's great to have you on the show.
Hi, Seth. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Really looking forward to this. So let's kick things off and talk about your real estate goals right now. What are you looking to do in real estate?
Right now, so we just recently, my husband and I purchased and I believe in June, we just purchased our first commercial retail property. So I'm excited about that because if you invest in Chicago, you know it's very tenant friendly. So what I like about the commercial side of it is that you don't have these archaic laws that are like basically, holding you to the cross for any type of small infraction with, that you have problems with tenants that are residential. So I like the fact that I'll have some flexibility with the leases and won't have as much hands-on work as I will with someone saying, well, there's a toilet issue. When you have commercial retail leases, they handle all that stuff and they do the build out and things like that. So I'm super excited to kind of, move in that direction.
Yeah, triple net leases can be exciting for a landlord.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And when you're looking at, let's say your year, do you say I want to acquire so many properties a year, or like how do you plan on growing your portfolio?
Yeah, so we do go year by unit, but what I've noticed is I've kind of shifted my mindset in terms of not so much looking at numbers, but looking at the cash flow. Yeah. So instead of saying I'm going to accumulate 5 units this year, I've started saying, well, I want to make $5,000 to $6,000 from investing. So I started looking at more of a cash flow side of it as opposed to units, because I think that since networking with other landlords, you start to hear they have so much more properties than you, but you guys are making the same amount. So some people are dealing with a lot more headaches than I am, but we're bringing in the same amount of, cash flow every month after all the expenses are paid. So that's kind of the way I've shifted it. Yeah.
Yeah. And did something cause that change in how you looked at things? Or did you talk to somebody, read a book? What prompted that shift?
Mostly just listening to podcasts like Bigger Pockets and things like that. I think I was listening to Brandon. I think he did one recently where he's going into investing in trailer parks. And so he was saying that he retired at 27 and he had 30 units at that time and he was making $3,000. And that was a light bulb moment for me, because I have 2 properties in Chicago that can easily make $3,000. Through Section 8 or just market. Mm-hmm. So that's what kind of shifted. And I'm like, I need to stop going out the numbers of units and start going off how much money I can make each month. So.
Yeah, gotcha. And like I mentioned in the intro when I introduced you, you started off at age 20 when you were still in college. So what got you interested in real estate? Because most people, when they're 20, they're not even thinking about buying properties.
I'm just a nerd, honestly. So, and then my parents were entrepreneurs. So they own their own mechanic shop, and my dad also worked for the city as a mechanic. As far as why I wanted to do real estate is because I was broke as hell in college. And I saw all these flipping shows on A&E, HGTV, and they'd be like, flip this house. And they would go in and put new carpet and paint and make $50,000, $60,000 profit. So me being the naive college student that I was thinking, okay, I could buy something. And back then it was so easy to get a mortgage because you just had to have a pulse and can you write? Can you sign your name? Then you can get a mortgage. So it was all those document mortgages they had back then. So I was able to get into one of those. And we wound up buying a condo and we flipped it. And we actually had to bring money to the table. So it was a really bad experience that first time. Because what happened was the condo association had a really big management, what do you call those things? That goes towards roofing and things. It was a huge a special assessment.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Right. So we had a big special assessment, which was about $13,000. So that took a lot of our profit away, and we wound up actually bringing a couple thousand to the closing. So yeah. But
Oh,
we
oh
decided to still keep going. But yeah, for most people, they would have been like, okay, this doesn't work and we're not going to do it anymore. But we kept going.
Yeah. But what do you think it is that kept you going? Because like you said, most people will give up. And I find that when people first get started in real estate investing, they give up way too soon, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
almost like a little bit of trouble and then they put on the brakes. So
That's
what do
true.
you think it was about you that kept you moving?
Honestly, I think it was just like the circumstances. When I had the property and it was on the market, there was another unit that came up for sale. So I was under contract on that one. So I didn't have a choice but to move forward. But it worked out well because I'm sorry, if I wouldn't have had that second contract for that unit, I would have definitely not, I would have quit. I would have gave up because I'd have been like, this doesn't work. But when I had the second unit I sold, I actually made a pretty good profit. So that gave me my faith back and confidence back in real estate. So yeah, it
Yeah.
worked out well.
Yeah. And you mentioned you just acquired your first commercial property. Did you find any challenges going between, let's say, from residential to commercial?
Not so far, because yeah, the transaction was the same. I didn't really see any differences with it. I think we haven't really got into the nit and grit of it because right now it's just sitting. So once we start, doing the work on it, because it does have to be renovated, it does need some work. So once we start, which we'll start in January, because I partnered with my brother to buy this one. This is his first property. So he really wants to be hands-on, and I'm going to wait for him. He's in Florida right now, but he's going to relocate back to Chicago, and we're going to kind of, do that together. So, yeah.
Nice.
So
Nice.
far, yeah, my information on that is limited right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what would you say then is the biggest challenge right now in your business?
I mean, I think reliable contractors and and the tenants. I think, like you have a few that are reliable, and then you have some that you built a rapport with, and they just fall off the edge of the world. Like you're like, what happened? Like, did something happen in your life where you're so unreliable? So just keeping a consistent team of people is really difficult because, you have people that will just scam you and take your deposits. You have to be very careful about how you deal with contractors and just making sure their work is up to code and their license, because in Chicago, you can get big fines for doing work that is unpermitted and things like that. So that's one of the challenges. And a lot of my tenants are Section 8. So that's another issue I have. They're more hands-on. Market tenants don't call you for silly things, but Section 8 tenants, they call you for everything. So yeah, that's one of the biggest challenges. Yeah.
Yeah. And so let's say somebody's listening or watching right now, and they're about to do their first flip or renovation. What sort of tips would you give them for dealing with contractors? Because you just said it can be a bit of a challenge.
Yes. For sure, do not pay up front for anything. Also, if this is a really reputable contractor that's licensed, they don't really need money to get started. Like you can get, if you feel more comfortable, you can buy the materials for it just to get started, but I would not give them more than 10% up front. If they're really good, they should have the money to get their workers started.
Yeah.
Usually the most important part when they're starting something is they're doing demo. Demo doesn't cost much money. So if they're coming to you telling you they need all these payments, you should definitely, that's a red flag to me. Also, another thing, you may want to just visit what they've actually done. And I'm talking about done recently within the last 3 months, because sometimes contractors will also change subs, right? Because I do that. Like sometimes I had a great plumber, then 2 years later, he no longer works. So you want to make sure that he's not showing you something from a year or two ago, and then now he has other workers that are not doing the same quality and they're not as reliable. So I would say look at some actual current work, speak to people that are actually that he's actually done work for. In the pictures, make sure he's in the pictures. I don't know, like, because sometimes people steal stuff off the internet. And talk to people that are actually, talk to your neighbors, talk to, your friends and things like that, and get referrals from them. So yeah.
Yeah. Those are some good tips. What would you say are some routines and rituals that you have developed that have made you a successful real estate investor?
I think you definitely want to take care of yourself. So exercising in the morning just to kind of clear your head and get yourself, going. That's one thing, is exercise. Another thing is like making sure you're analyzing your numbers. So my husband is the numbers guy. So he makes sure that he'll document really well on what unit is costing us the most and how we can make more money. So that may mean like we need to start making them do their own landscaping, or maybe we need to like change it over. Sometimes Section 8 will let you put certain utilities like the water bill, things like that in their name. You can shift those expenses. Or maybe there's just a tenant that constantly calls and you start to see, okay, they're the ones that's costing us the most money in maintenance, and then you can make assessments on whether or not you actually want to renew the lease with them when it comes up. Because some are just, a lot more hands-on than others. So those are some of the things we do.
So is one of your tips to turn your phone to silent mode?
Yes, one of them would be that, exactly, or block the number.
Block the number, yeah. Oh, hey, I can just imagine some of the phone calls you get.
Yeah. So, but the trade-off is the guaranteed rent. So and I'm young right now. I don't know if I could do this in my 40s and 50s with these people, with this type of demographic. So I'm, as I get older, I might phase out more to more market tenants. Right now, I'm in my 30s, so I can kind of deal with, the nuisances. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
So let's talk about a Keystone deal. So a deal that made a big impact on you and your business. Is there one that comes to mind?
Okay, so in about 2011 or 2012, I purchased a single family home to flip. It was $60,000, 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, in a really decent neighborhood. We sold the property for $189,000. Nice. We put about $25,000 into it. So we were able to walk away with a really nice profit. Now, we could have gotten more out that deal, but we decided not to do the basement. The basement had it been finished, we probably could have got like $225 or $230 for it, but we had kind of ran out of funds, so we didn't do the basement and finish it. But so that was one of the deals that really made us be able to purchase our primary residence with cash, and then we did a refi on it, which allowed us to buy more rentals. So that was that deal stands out to me as one of the more profitable things. Mm-hmm.
How did you source the deal? Was it through a real estate broker, or did you go right to the seller for that one?
I actually went to the MLS for that one. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay. So what was it that, once you saw it on MLS, what was it that stood out about this property that said, hey, I need to buy this one?
Well, the property's in a great neighborhood. It's a brick property in Chicago. People love brick properties, and a good school district. The problem is that the reason why I think we got such a good deal on it is because there were tenants inside of the property, and it was only drive-by only. Mm. So that turned a lot of people off. But for me and my husband, we were like, well, what's the worst that could be in the property? So we decided to go ahead and pay $60K for the property. And it turned out to be a good deal. And it's so funny because the day after we closed, the tenants moved out. So we were thinking we were already talking to our attorney about eviction and things like that. And I really believe they might have got like a cash for keys deal or something from the bank, but their mattresses were outside, all their stuff, and they were gone. So that headache that we thought we would have was gone. So it was totally worth it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure you guys were doing a happy dance.
Absolutely. Yeah. Saved all those attorney fees and that headache. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if somebody hasn't gone through that process before, in terms of, purchasing a home, doing the renovations, how long did the work take?
We probably spent about 4 months in renovating the property, we probably took a little bit longer because my husband did some of the work, and then we did have a contractor, but we noticed he was taking on more jobs than he was supposed to be. So he was like maybe coming every Saturday to do the work as opposed to, consistently coming so he could finish it up. So that's another challenge you can have with some contractors. They take on more work than they can actually do.
Yeah.
But so it took about 4 months, and it did sit on the market a little longer. And the reason why is because in Chicago, in this particular neighborhood, most of the properties have their own separate driveways. We bought a property that shared a driveway. So this was a huge turnoff to somebody to say, like, we're going to have to constantly ask the neighbors to go in and out with our car to park. So that made the property sit a little bit longer, but still a sale price for $189,000 is good. I mean, we have to pay, realtor commission and fees and things like that, but I still think it was a good deal. So Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that sounds great. Even with 4 months of work and with your
Exactly.
husband doing it too,
Yeah.
you guys saved on the
Saved
labor.
on the labor. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a great deal. And then
Yeah.
so after that, you took that, bought your current primary residence
Yes.
into the refi.
Exactly. So we paid 100 for it, and then we were able to refi it once we did work into it, and they gave us like 100 back out. And then we
Nice.
went back in and did another one because now it's like worth 300 and some $1,000. So they gave us like, another amount. So yeah, so that property really helped us to, earn, equity in our own primary residence. So
Hmm.
yeah.
And what do you think the secret is in finding the right properties to acquire, renovate, and then sell or refi? Because people talk about the burst strategy a
Yeah.
lot. What's the secret sauce to picking a good one?
I mean, I think just try to find, I tell people all the time, buy the worst house on the best block you can afford,
Yeah.
like that to me, like never buy the biggest house that's already done. I really don't encourage people to buy turnkey homes. Like if you can walk into something where you can make a little bit of sweat equity, you should do that. Like if you just have to pull up some carpets and redo a kitchen, you should consider that. So yeah, I think just trying to find because sometimes even if you buy in bad neighborhoods and you get a good deal, it's not going to increase that much in value. So if you're looking to actually get into something that has where you can actually, refinance it, you're going to have to look in better neighborhoods because that's where the equity is going to be and the stability, and the bank is going to feel more comfortable financing the deal. So yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah. But
good
they
tips.
can be more difficult to find these days. I don't know. Like to me, it's kind of harder right now to find really good deals. Working with wholesalers is helpful. So yeah.
Yeah. Are you experimenting with any average like letter drops or anything like that with sellers?
I'm not, but I probably should consider it because it feels like this market is getting harder and harder. So, I
Yeah.
mean, when you listen to like Crane Chicago, they say that the market in Chicago is not increasing in value and things like that. But as an investor, it just still feels like it's much harder to find deals like I was last year. I could find really good ones. This year is difficult. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
So tell us about the impact real estate has had on your life. I know you got involved at a young age, at age 20, but how has real estate changed your lifestyle?
Well, I mean, I don't have to work per se, so I'm able to have so much more free time to be, a part of the PTA or be at my child's soccer games and different things like that. So being able to be home and I can cook dinner for the children and my husband, so I don't have that stress of that 9 to 5. I'm able to have that flexibility to exercise and do different things that I want to do for my own personal growth and then for my family. So, and then it allows us to travel and things like that. So, yeah, real estate has been really, done us really well. So, yeah.
Yeah, and let's look ahead. So 10 years from now, so in a decade, where do you see yourself with real estate?
Well, I hope I have like 100 units 10 years from now. Yeah. Yeah. And I really hope, like my goal right now, 10 years, I'd like to be making 6 figures a month in real estate from cash flow. So
Nice.
that's kind of where I'm looking. And I do want to do some trailer park investing, storage units, and hopefully if I like commercial retail, hopefully something like that. So yeah, those are kind of like my goals on my goals list. So
No,
yeah.
sounds good. We'll have to have you back in a couple of years, and then you can give
Yes.
us an update.
Update. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Pongee, if somebody's looking to get in touch, learn more about what you're doing, where can they find you?
I'm on Instagram at Real Estate and Chill. Also, if you guys want to check out my book, it's a really good book for beginners and for real estate investing. A lot of good reviews on Amazon. So it's called Real Estate and Chill, and you can find that on Amazon. And if you're not a big reader, you can also find it on iTunes, and Amazon has it on Audible. So you can check that out. And also, I do have a course, rechill.info. So reach me there. Yep.
That's great. Well, I just want to say thanks so much for taking the time and sharing all that good tips and those stories with us.
For sure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks very much. And to you, our viewers, I wish you well on your journey from purchase to profits. See you next time.